My name is Daryl Cole. Thanks for being with us. Now, revenue generated at the country's ports increased by almost 30% as at the end of 2016. This has been attributed to the implementation of the National Single Window Project, which commenced in September 2015 to harmonize and facilitate activities at the country's ports. The implementing company, West Blue Consulting, says it wants to contribute significantly to government's revenue targets in the upcoming budget.
During the visit by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade recently, Chief Executive Officer of West Blue, Valentina Minta, highlighted some challenges facing efforts by the company to maximize revenue collection at the ports and called for further support from the government to deal with the situation. She noted that despite missing revenue target for the year 2016, the company's operations improved in revenue generation by 28.7%.
We also look at revenue as one of the second of the three mandates. And if you could look at revenue, even though if you look at revenue, GRA Customs collected 28.7% improvement compared to the previous year's collection. Now, that is quite significant, but I must mention that they did miss their target. But if you look at the revenue collection improvement, that was significant. So we look at building on that. We look at reviewing the targets that will be set very shortly with the budget coming into place, and to see how we can monitor that on a month-to-month to support government to ensure that revenue is effectively collected.
Meanwhile, the Parliamentary Committee on Trade assures the company of its support to enhance revenue generation. Titus Glover is the chairman of the committee.
The committee is very impressed. For the 1 year that they've been in operation, that they've really done well. For example, when you look about their role as the IT consultancy firm, the verification and classification of goods at the port isn't done by them, but they have given the IT infrastructure to enable SEPs to do the work that they are doing. And by so do you realize that revenue generation has really shot up. And I think that that is very key.
The National Single Window Project is a requirement by the World Trade Organization for all member countries as a policy in harmonizing activities at the ports.
Now, as the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, prepares to deliver the first budget statement and financial report for the year, some members of the business community have been expressing their thoughts and expectations of the government. Ken Ofori-Atta has already hinted this year's budget will have some packages for businesses, including tax reliefs and the removal of nuisance levies introduced by the previous government. There's more in the following report by Ebenezer Sabute.
Business community and entrepreneurs in the country have high expectations of the outcome of this year's budget. This is due to certain commitments made by the President, Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to make the nation a safe haven for business development. In an interview with Joy Business, stakeholders in the trade and financial sectors have been expressing themselves on how the Thursday budget statement should address some of their concerns.
I only go by what we want. So I can't tell what somebody's mind. I don't have expectations for the budget. And that's what's stated here, that reduction of some taxes, keeping some other taxes to create a pool of long-term funding to invest in private sector.
Our members have repeatedly said that the tax burden is too much. Okay, so the incoming government has been in contact with the business community and the Chamber of Commerce. A number of tax areas have been identified which we believe the new government will mitigate. Then also the issue of the power base. Okay, we expect that the power situation will be stabilized for good. Okay, then we think that the informal sector needs some help in terms of access to finance, in terms of capacity building.
We are expecting that the budget will reflect a lot of the commitments that the government has made to the people of Ghana, and we see it as probably going to be quite an ambitious budget, which will call for every Ghanaian to
roll up their sleeves and sacrifice and go the extra mile for us to have a better economy. And we are ready to play our part at Capital Bank. Well, we're expecting that this budget will provide new opportunities for the banking sector in terms of both incentives and investment. And we, especially as a local bank with local knowledge, expect that we'll take advantage of such opportunities.
The issue of building up a lot of businesses. So what then it means is we'll be seeing a lot of plans to see how they can stimulate the economy. Okay, so we are expecting to see them coming out with packages that will enable business owners be able to employ more, make monies available in the economy to enable the economic growth.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is set to present the budget to Parliament on Thursday, March 2nd, the first financial statement of the Akufo-Addo administration.
Some expectations from the business community on the budget presentation that's coming up on Thursday. Moving on, the Trades Union Congress TUC has renewed its call for the public sector to be protected against any wage and job cuts as government moves to seek a possible review of aspects of the country's program with the IMF. The Secretary General, Dr. Anthony Yao, has been explaining their position to Joy Business.
Government has resolved to continue with the 3-year program after meeting the IMF team over a week ago. It has, however, indicated plans to re-engage the IMF on certain portions of the deal. The TUC wants government to ensure wages and jobs in the public sector are not cut in the name of meeting the debt reduction target for the country. The Secretary General, Dr. Anthony Yao, who is also a labor economist, has been explaining their position to Joy Business.
You know what is driving the debt in this country now? Wage is one, the deficit, interest, and then the earmark funds. When they go to negotiate, these three, the first one will be wages. And there's a tendency to say that cut wages, either by declaring people redundant and so on. So that is the only way you can bring the deficit down to this level. What I'm saying is this: government should not do such a thing. The wage in this country is not high. What is the average wage in this country? It's not up to 1,000 Ghana cedis in the public service. So the wage is not the issue, really. So my point is this: they should not allow the wage to be a big issue. If they have issues with wages, they should discuss with the unions. IMF cannot give us any good advice on wages, period.
According to him, an expected boost in investor confidence in the economy, among other factors, should help in improving the country's debt situation.
The interest on the debt, as the confidence of the external investors keep building in this country, you see our rating will go down, as I've explained earlier. We are likely to be able to borrow from external sources at a reasonable rate, not this 10%, 10.2% and so on. We can rely on that for now. So if you give ourselves time frames for most of these our plans and get all the key stakeholders involved in the planning so that government doesn't think that I'm government. And again, I like Nana Akufo-Addo when he said that even the change of name of the presidency, he will engage Kenyans. Oh, wonderful. So even if change of names, you are going to involve all of us to try and see what we can do. How about running the economy itself?
The IMF program is now scheduled to end in December 2018 instead of the initial April 2018 deadline. Government has, however, welcomed it as good for the economy.
The presidency has formally responded to developments at oil marketing firm Guel. A statement signed by Acting Director of Communications, Eugene Ahin, rubbished recent report that he has appointed a new MD for the firm and also criticized the board's response to the news. Let's now explore the impact of a possible change of leadership of the vibrant oil marketing firm on the stock exchange. Joining us for some analysis is the Head of Research of Databank, Alex Boahim. Thanks for joining us. First of all, can speculations like this affect the share price of Guel?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, when you have new like this trending in the media, I mean, it doesn't augur well for a company that is listed because of its dreadful impact that it can have on the share price. But thankfully, the share price has remained resilient over the past week since this news broke out. The investor community has actually not, or has been insensitive to this news. In fact, to be precise, the share price actually gained yesterday, and today too it has gained additional peswa. So what does this signify to us as market participants? I mean, everyone knows. I mean, a lot of investors are actually confident about the company going forward. I mean, investors are confident about the company's earning power. I mean, quite recently we have observed a strong profitability coming from Goel. The company continues to expand their business scope, and I think that is what investors are actually looking at. So this development, though negative, but I can say that it hasn't had any adverse impact on the share price of Goel on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Right, I was going to ask you how the shareholders were going to react to this, but obviously the shares are doing well. I'm just wondering, now there's uncertainty as to who is going to be taking over Goel. Wouldn't this uncertainty also fuel certain fears amongst investors?
Yes, it will certainly. When there is change of management, it can actually affect the strategy of the company because, I mean, the market will be expecting or not knowing the background or where the new manager is coming from. And I must also be frank that we have seen the leadership of Mr. Akoli over the past few years, and I think that he's done performed creditably in steering the company forward. I mean, he came out with a clear agenda when he was appointed some years back, and he's pursuing that agenda quite aggressively, especially in terms of the expansion of the business, in terms of the scope. I mean, recently we know it ventured into it set up a very profitable BEC subsidiary, and that is actually pushing up profitability of the company. We are also hearing that they want to also expand into the West African region, which is a welcome idea. The company is aggressively pursuing its aviation strategy, trying to sell fuel or aviation fuel to local airlines, and that is also adding. So, I mean, the company is on a solid pedestal for growth, and that is actually what investors are looking at. So the new manager will, I think, will be tasked to build on what has been left by Mr. Akoli going forward.
Okay, we are waiting to hear news of who the new manager will be, and we'll be watching things to find out how long this good gains will continue despite news or no news about the new MD for Goel. Thanks very much for your time. That was Alex Bryan. He is the head of research at Databank. You're still watching Business Live. In other news tonight, the Ghana National Lottery Authority has revealed plans to be the leading lottery authority in Africa in the coming years. The authority, ahead of its 60th anniversary next year, has launched a document titled The Journey So Far, Development Through Games. It was aimed at demystifying certain perceptions about the lottery business in Ghana. Here's more in this report.
Established in 1958, the National Lottery Authority is aimed at improving the fortunes of Ghanaians through entertainment. The launch of the book saw key stakeholders in the Lottery Authority reveal some challenges the authority has faced over the past year. Speaking at the launch, Director General of the NLA, retired Brigadier General Martin K.G. Ahiaglo, revealed that despite some managerial challenges, the authority succeeded in liaising with the public sector to expand its operations.
To my amazement and admiration, I found out that apart from remarkably delivering on its mandate by generating revenue for national development and creating moments of hope and happiness for our cherished patrons over the years, The NLA also had a rich history which had been handed over from one generation of staff to another. To my mind, the best way of preserving this rich heritage was through looking into the past and stringing together the memorable milestones in the history of the authority from its inception to date and documenting this for posterity. It was this idea that gave birth to the title of the book we are launching today, and whose title, National Lottery Authority, The Journey So Far, is a reflection of how far NLA has come since the first raffle was drawn by Mr. William Brennan in 1958.
Director General revealed to Joy Business, the NLA is committed to engaging international lottery agencies to become the leading lottery in Africa in the next 5 years.
The guiding principle of the World Lottery Association of responsible gaming is one of our key drivers. And added to that, our own core values, where we have respect, excellence, accountability, leadership, and integrity and teamwork are the values that definitely will guide us on that journey to become the best in Africa. We are looking into the next 5-10 years. We should be, and there are clear indications that we are doing a great job in this direction, because we've been having regular visits from countries across the sub-region.
The book launch is aimed at enlightening business organizations on the relevance of the NLA and its contributions to the consolidated fund.
In the past few weeks, many Ghanaians have had to endure intermittent power supply. Now, there have been many suggestions as to what is causing this problem. And some say they believe the dark days of doomsday have returned. But in the midst of this, one of the generators of electricity, the Volta River Authority, says that is not the case. Now, the Public Relations Officer of the VRA, Gertrude Kumsin, has been speaking to Joy Business.
And the explanation that we have from the sector is that due to the rainstorm, some of the lines have been brought down, and UCG have had to restore them, and it has to be done systematically. So some have had their lights restored, others are yet to come on.
Madam Kumsin, the rainstorm in Accra happened on Sunday, and before that too, people were experiencing the outages already. So what really is the problem? Well,
you know, the lines are connected. The interconnection that we have, transmission and distribution. If something happens in the central region, it is possible that it will affect the lines elsewhere.
All right, so let's stay with your office, the VRA. What is the current production capacity?
With VRA right now, with Ameri back, we have about 1,400, and that is what we are managing with now.
And is this really the level we are supposed to be producing instead of?
No, we should be doing almost 2,000 and over. But if you go to Abuaze as we speak, C1, which is the TAPCO plant, which is 330 megawatts, has been shut down for maintenance work. And this is warranty that the manufacturer will have to come down and work on it. As we speak, the manufacturer is here and they started working on it. One unit will be back by the end of March. We are expecting the second to be back in the third quarter.
So you're saying that we are supposed to be producing over 2,000, but right now we are producing just a little over 1,000. Apart from...
That's the installed capacity. You know, the demand is around 1,900. We also need the reserve. So we have installed capacity of over 2,000. But as we speak, we have to take down some of the units for maintenance. But since Ameri is back, and then the ministry and the government has also been to Côte d'Ivoire to negotiate further increase in what they are supplying us. And the good news is that they've agreed to increase our request to about 200 megawatts and over. And we believe that this can shore the current situation.
And this agreement you talk about, how soon is it expected to take effect?
Immediate. I mean, this thing is not new. We've been depending on them for a while now. But then with the new negotiations that are taking place, we expect that it will go up. This exchange program that we have with them, sometimes we give them and they give us. But now, because of our situation, we have to depend on them more. And, once that is government collaboration, they have also promised that they are going to support us during this period. With the addition of the 200 megawatts as soon, and then we have Senate supporting, we also have our TT 1PP also giving us over 100 megawatts. Together, we think that the situation with Côte d'Ivoire supporting will be able to carry us through until Aboise comes back fully. What we are not expecting is the doomsday that we all fear. And so with this, we believe that we'll be able to handle the situation, barring any unforeseen system disturbance from any of the three.
And that was a PRO of the VRA speaking earlier to Joy News' Beatrice Edu. Now, moving on to the tech world, an acting head of South Korean multinational tech company, that's Samsung, has been indicted on bribery and embezzlement charges connected to corruption scandal centering on South Korea's impeached President Park Geun-hye. It's a scandal analysts fear may affect the company. Here's more in this report. Prosecutors on Tuesday indicted Lee Jae-yong, the de facto chief of the giant South Korean conglomerate, on bribery and other charges. Four other Samsung executives were also charged with bribery and other crimes under the investigation into a huge political corruption scandal that has shaken the country. The move means South Korea's highest-profile business leader and some of the top lieutenants are now headed for trial. The scandal that has engulfed them has already brought hundreds of thousands of South Korean protesters onto the streets and prompted lawmakers to vote to impeach the president. Lee was arrested earlier this month and has been in custody since then. Prosecutors allege that Lee pledged tens of millions of dollars to win favor with President Park Geun-hye and secure government support for a measure that helped tighten his grip on Samsung. They're accusing him of bribery, perjury, concealing criminal profits, embezzlement, and hiding assets overseas. Samsung and Lee have denied the allegations. Samsung declined to comment directly on the indictments, but also announced that Park is resigning. Samsung said it would shut down its corporate strategy office, which coordinates plans for the conglomerate's various businesses and where some of the indicted executives worked. This is Business Live. We want to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Time now for our interview of the day, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry is asking government to fix urgently the power crisis. The head of marketing of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been speaking to Joy Business.
The thing that the Chamber is expecting from government is that the government has promised to cut a lot of the taxes that is militating against business operators in country. So we are hoping that we're going to have some cuts in taxes, and we hope government will deliver on this promise.
The Chamber has raised key concerns, and the most troubling happens to do with the prevailing energy crisis. How worried is the Chamber?
The Chamber is very worried because, as you know, energy is a key part in any industrialization process. Without energy, you can't do much And over the past years, we have experienced a lot of challenges with the energy sector. The current government has promised to resolve the energy crisis, but you and I have been hearing some, over the past few days, some emergence of this energy crisis. But we hope that there's a new government, and we trust the words of the president and his ministers that they are going to resolve it. So we are still talking to the ministries and also government. We believe within the shortest possible time, they will be able to resolve the energy crisis for business to do what they know how to do best.
And we'll have more business news tonight on Joy News Prime. My name is Darryl Carr. Thanks for watching Business Live tonight. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business.